Here at First Fruits of Zion, we're beginning to republish the works of great luminaries of the past, the voices of early Messianic Judaism, mostly lost to time. Our first such publication is Paul Philip Levertov's Love and the Messianic Age. In the last video segment, I introduced you to Dr. Levertov. Today, I want to introduce you to some of his work. Paul Philip Levertov was born as Feivel Levertov into an Orthodox Jewish family in Orsha, Belarus in 1875. He was a distant relative of the famous Lubavitcher Alter Rebbe, Shneur Zalman. Levertov grew up immersed in the shtetl world of Hasidic Judaism. Several chance encounters with fragments of the Gospels, however, inspired in him curiosity about Christianity. After graduating early with honors from the prestigious Volozhin Yeshiva, Levertov took up a serious study of the New Testament and became a believer. After coming to the conviction that Yeshua of Nazareth was indeed the Messiah of Israel, 17-year-old Feivel returned home from school, and he found himself quickly alienated from his family and from his community because of his new convictions. He decided to leave his parents, a decision he later regretted, stating that if only he had been wiser, he would have been able to persuade his parents, for he later realized how very near the kingdom they actually were. In December of 1896, he was baptized into Christianity and took the Christian name Paul Philip. He spent much of the rest of his life living as a lone chassid in the midst of a Christian world. Levertov went on to work as a translator, writer, and evangelist for missionary organizations including the London Jews Society, the Hebrew Christian Testimony to Israel. He undertook mission trips together with the famous Jewish believer David Barron throughout Europe, to Egypt, and to the Holy Land. In the first decade of the 20th century, Levertov wrote a variety of titles for the mission societies that employed him. He was prolific, often exploring the intersection between the Gospels and Hasidic Judaism. His book about Yeshua, the Son of Man, a survey of the life and deeds of Jesus Christ, was the first work ever written about Yeshua in modern Hebrew. Other publications included a book on Paul, numerous articles in mission society journals, translations of Christian books into modern Hebrew, and so on. In 1910, Levertov took a missions position in Constantinople, where he met the Welsh-born Beatrice Spooner Jones, the woman who became his wife. She bore him two daughters, Olga and Denise. After marriage, Levertov seems to have accepted a more conventional Christian life and practice, even accepting Christian ordination as a member of the Anglican clergy. In 1912, Levertov moved to Leipzig, Germany, where he took a position as the professor of Hebrew and rabbinics at the Delitzsch Jewish Institute, a postgraduate school for Jewish missions that had originally been founded by Franz Delitzsch, the translator of the Hebrew New Testament. Levertov was actually filling the post that had been left vacant by the death of the eminent Jewish believer Rabbi Yechiel Tzvi Lichtenstein. Levertov taught courses in Yiddish and Hebrew, in Tanakh, in rabbinics, and in New Testament. He taught from the Hebrew commentaries on the apostolic writings that had been written by his predecessor, Rabbi Lichtenstein, and even helped edit the Matthew commentary for publication. Then, during World War I, he lost his posting at the school and was placed under house arrest, actually, for the duration of the war because he was a Russian national living in Germany. Nevertheless, while under arrest, he was commissioned by the University of Leipzig to write a German translation with commentary of Pesikta Rabbati, a medieval collection of Midrash, and a German translation of the Jerusalem Talmud, and a treatise on Hasidic Judaism, which he titled The Religious Ideas of the Hasidim. Disguised as an inquiry in the field of comparative religion, Levertov used the opportunity to work out a Christian Hasidic theology that could be utilized in a community of Jewish believers. It was this work that is said to have inspired Martin Buber to compile his famous collection, Tales of the Hasidim. Love in the Messianic Age is a condensed English version of this much longer Religious Ideas of the Hasidim. Between the wars, Levertov relocated to London, where he took a position with the Anglican Church. In the Shoreditch district of London, Levertov and his family established the first and only Anglican Messianic congregation, complete with Sabbath services, Torah readings, Hebrew liturgy, and synagogue melodies. While conducting the services at Shoreditch, Levertov edited a newsletter titled The Church and the Jews. In the 1930s, the Cincino Press of London was attempting to translate the Zohar to English, but unable to complete the translation, they contacted Levertov for help. Initially, they wanted to withhold his name from the publication because Levertov was a known apostate in Jewish circles. Levertov insisted, and Cincino eventually consented to publish with his name listed along with the other two translators. In addition to these works, Levertov translated several classics into Hebrew and English, such as an English version of Dahlmann's Jesus Yeshua, a Hebrew version of the Confessions of St. Augustine, an English version of Midrash Sifrei, and many other works. Feivel, Paul Philip Levertov, died at the age of 75 on July 31st, 1954, on Rosh Chodesh Av. For Messianic Judaism, Feivel Paul Philip Levertov is a hero of the previous generation, a trailblazer and a luminary ahead of his time. Hashem granted him understanding, knowledge, and wisdom to be an example to his generation, an example to our generation, and to the generations which will come after us. At First Fruits of Zion, we are proud to be working with the Levertov estate to republish his writings and bring them to a new generation.